I just felt like, you know, he just one of these little arrogant little dudes that's, you know, using what he got to shield him.
So when people, what I got from that is he's a hater. Like, if you don't know me as a person, let's say you don't like me, like you don't know me.
Boxing is strictly for a check now. It's just all about getting a check. They're going to be fake fighting. They're going to probably fake fight 12 rounds.
Terence Crawford recently took aim at Gervonta "Tank" Davis during a live interview, responding to new allegations of rigging. Crawford expressed his dislike for Davis, claiming that Tank hid behind his knockout power and fame. He even suggested that Davis uses his influence to protect his place in the boxing world, hinting that he might manipulate fights and decisions to keep his status intact.
Tank said I was a meat lover. He came in like, oh, this guy, you a meat lover.
But Tank would never even think about hesitating to come up to 154.
All right, what about 47 though?
Yes, if he get to pick his opponent. If Tank get to pick his opponent, he would do it. But Tank would never come from 35 to 54.
Y'all got into it on social media around that time. Y'all was doing the back and forth. Is that just you being competitive, like when that happens? Or is it like...
I just really don't like that dude.
Why though?
Cause I just don't like him. Like I really don't like him. I don't like.
Just not your cup of tea. That's just not your.
I don't like nothing about him. No, I don't like nothing about him. I just felt like, you know, he just one of these little arrogant little dudes that's, you know, using what he got to shield him. You know, like he got a lot of security guards around him, and he know, you know what I mean, he's in the limelight and stuff like that, but in certain situations he wouldn't be acting like that.
Do you like him as a fighter though?
Yeah, he's a damn good fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I respect him as a fighter.
Yeah.
You know, he definitely got skills, he got power, he got tremendous boxing ability, but like his core personality and his ways, nah.
Terence Crawford took a shot at Gervonta Davis, questioning whether he's really a true fighter. Crawford challenged Davis to prove he's willing to dare to be great by stepping up and facing him in the ring. He suggested that Davis avoids tough opponents, focusing more on protecting his undefeated record than taking on real challenges.
Gervonta Davis speaking about you. Is that ever a possible fight?
Yeah, if he want to dare to be great, he can be like all the other fighters that moving up 2 weight classes and, you know, daring to be great.
You would fight him.
Man, tell him to come up there.
He got to come to win 54.
He said I got a glass chin, so tell him to come and touch it.
Wow, man. Gervonta said you got a glass.
He said I got a glass chin. Tell him to come and touch it.
At 147?
At 147. I'll make 147 for him.
Ooh, see, oh man.
You're gonna have a pre-camp.
Then what the people gonna say? Oh, he's beating up on little guys.
I don't know.
Famous boxer Terence Crawford took to social media to voice his frustration, saying, "They robbed that boy," highlighting the growing controversy around the fight's result. Crawford's comments reflect the belief that Lamont Roach Jr. was unfairly denied a win. Many fans and analysts agree, arguing that the judging and officiating seemed to favor Gervonta Davis, even though there were questionable moments during the fight. This decision has sparked ongoing debates about corruption in boxing and the influence of big names in sport. That Crawford's comment highlight a bigger frustration with boxing's integrity, particularly the sense that Lamont Roach Jr. was treated unfairly. In response, Gervonta Davis brushed off Crawford's criticism, calling him a hater. Davis questioned how Crawford could make such harsh statement about him without knowing him personally, expressing frustration over what he felt were unfair and unfounded remarks. He implied that people often judge him without truly understanding who he is, adding to the growing tension between the two fighters.
When people, what I got from that is he's a hater. Like, if you don't know me as a person, let's say you don't like me. Like, you don't know me, like, you feel me? And I don't go. Everybody that cool with it, I mean, with him.
Question for your proud father.
Following the controversial outcome of the Lamont Roach versus Gervonta Davis fight, many fans have voiced their disappointment, feeling that boxing is no longer a legitimate sport. There's a growing belief that high-profile fights, especially those involving big names like Davis, are rigged, with some even suggesting that the outcomes are predetermined. Critics argue that the entire 12-round match was manipulated, with Davis allegedly knowing the result before he stepped into the ring. This belief has sparked serious backlash, leaving fans questioning the credibility of boxing overall.
See, this is why I just don't watch boxing anymore, because Lamont Roach versus Gervonta Davis, are we being so fucking serious right now? Boxing is strictly for a check now. It's just all about getting a check. They're going to be fake fighting. They're going to probably fake fight 12 rounds so they get the max amount of money. Gervonta Davis said he was going to retire after this so he could get...
Okay, now it's the Jig's turn to talk. Let's talk about it. Is Gervonta Davis fighting Roach, or is Roach fighting Tank for a check? Absolutely, I'll give it to him. He's not going to win this fight. Fuck it. And as much as guys seem like I hate Tank, which I really don't, you would think I would agree with her on some aspects of her argument or point statement, whatever the fuck you want to call this bullshit. They're going to fake fight for 12 to maximize the payout? No, these guys don't get paid by the hour. Let's be blunt, let's be honest, let's get strictly to the point. Gervonta Tank Davis, there's nothing fake about his victims. I'm going to call them victims instead of opponents. I think that's more suitable. And we get it. His resume is absolute ass. His resume is shit. We get that. And this is the thing about Tank. Bombs are going to drop from the sky. Bombs are going to hail from his hands. Leather is going to be thrown. And there's going to be a 93% chance you're in the danger zone. And there's going to be a 100% chance that if you're in that danger zone, that bitch is going to hurt. There's nothing fake about this left hand Frank Martin caught. He happened to be one of the 93%. And he felt that motherfucker, and he felt all of it.
A major criticism of Gervonta Davis is that he actively avoids fighting top-tier opponents who could really challenge him. Many believe Davis carefully selects his fights, only facing opponents he's confident he can beat. This has been especially evident in his refusal to give Ryan Garcia a rematch and his avoidance of a potential fight with Terence Crawford. Critics argue that Davis is more focused on preserving his undefeated record than proving himself against elite competition, manipulating his career to avoid opponents who could expose his weaknesses.
Gervonta Tank Davis has finally established himself as the biggest duck in boxing. There's always been a debate, we throw Brian Norman in there, we throw Canelo in there, then we got Tank, we have the top 3 pound-for-pound ducks. Tank has went head and shoulders above everybody else. He's become the undisputed pound-for-pound #1 duck in boxing. Yesterday, he had his press conference with Lamont Roach. He spoke about Shakur Stevenson. Let's take a look at it. So someone asked him about a Shakur fight. He immediately dismissed it. He said, and I quote, "For what? What has Shakur done? What has he done in the sport? He hasn't done nothing. Keyshawn Davis is looking way better than him, and Keyshawn hasn't even done nothing. I'm afraid of what? For us fighters to be afraid of someone, it has to be someone who's hitting us and hurting us. He doesn't have no offense. Everything is defense. Defense only wins in basketball and football. That shit don't win in boxing." So this is a clear, obvious duck. The whole, what did you win, whatever. Shakur has won way more than Tank has won in his career. He's a 3-division unified champion, and he's actually fighting in his 3rd division where Tank isn't. And like I said, he's a unified champion. He's a silver medalist, so he's accomplished objectively more than Tank. Let me just get this right. You're not afraid of Shakur because he can't hurt you, he can't punch, and he's only defense. But you're not going to fight him. So if Shakur can't hurt you, if Shakur stands no chance, he hasn't done anything, he's some type of bum, but he's one of the biggest money fights you can take, why not just knock him out? Just make it look easy, since he's such a bum, since he hasn't done anything and he can't hurt you. Just go in there and knock him out. The same way you made this Lamont Roach fight happen so quickly, same way you made Frank Martin, Hector Luis Garcia, all these other guys, Rolly Romero, Isaac Cruz happen. Make Shakur happen. He'll take it in a heartbeat. Just go in there, stop him, take your $40-50 million check and just be gone with it. But he knows that won't happen. He knows more than likely Shakur would outpoint him about 9-3, 8-4. You guys let me know. Do you think Tank is obviously he's the #1 duck in boxing. Do you think he's an all-time great duck?
Terence Crawford didn't hold back his frustration with the referee's decision during the Davis versus Roach fight. He took to Twitter, calling out the controversial ruling, saying, "I've never seen someone take a knee and not have it counted as a knockdown. Must have forgotten the rules for tonight. Crawford's remarks reflect a widespread disbelief over how the fight was officiated, fueling suspicions that the match may have been rigged. His comment adds to the growing calls for stricter officiating and more transparency in major boxing events. The decision not to count Davis's knee as a knockdown has caused a stir in the boxing world. The ruling in the Davis versus Roach fight has sparked outrage throughout the boxing community, with many arguing that boxing is becoming a joke. Historically, taking a knee has always been counted as a knockdown, yet Davis was granted special treatment. Many believe his influence and power in the sport allowed him to bypass the usual rules. If this trend continues, there are concerns that boxing could lose its credibility as a fair competition, with rules seemingly changing depending on who's in the ring.
Never in my life have I seen a boxer take a knee mid-round and the referee acts like it didn't even happen. And Tank's excuse was, oh, I got grease in my eye. It does not matter. You took a voluntary knee. That should be a 10-8 round. And again, the referee just acts like it was no big deal. And you probably had grease in your eye because Lamont Roach Jr. knocked the grease in your eye. Boxing is a beautiful sport. I love boxing. I have been watching boxing since before I could even talk. But it is the most corrupt sport in the world. And there truly is not a second place that's even close. They ended up scoring this fight a draw, which was BS even without the knockdown. But with the knockdown, this should have been a clear victory for Lamont Roach Jr. Just actually embarrassing for the sport of boxing. But everybody will wake up tomorrow. Everything will go back to normal. Nobody will care until the next robbery happens. It's just, it's old. It really is. But that's boxing for you. What can you do?
Davis tried to justify his knee by claiming that grease in his eyes was blocking his vision. However, boxing experts quickly shot down this excuse, pointing out that if Davis had such an issue, he should have informed the referee before the round started. Instead, he chose to take a knee in the middle of the round, which goes against standard boxing protocol. Experts stress that in a professional fight, a boxer can't just do whatever they want without following the rules.
The rounds, and before the action begins, so the clock hasn't started, the punches aren't being exchanged, and he goes, referee, I have a problem, and takes a knee in that moment. The referee can address it. Well, the round hasn't started. What's going on with you? You know, well, you've had your minute. What's going on? Bit of grease has gone into my eye, referee. I can't see. Okay, hold it. Get in. Clean his eye. Boom. Sound. Everything good. You can't do that mid-round. If you do that mid-round, especially after Roach has just landed a jab, for all we know, what if one of his knuckles just went straight into the eye? It's only a daft range-finding jab, but what if the knuckle or the thumb went into Gervonta Davis's eye? Maybe it pushed that little innocuous jab, maybe it pushed the eyelashes under his eyelid so he couldn't see. He was blurred in that eye. Maybe in that second he couldn't open his eye. He panics, he takes a knee, runs to the corner, can't see out my eye. They get a towel, stroke it back. You can't do that. I'm sorry, this is a fight. You can't do that. You can't clean, without the referee saying come in and clean his eye. You can't clean his eye without the referee stopping the fight. The fighter can't stop the fight. Steve Willis's initial instincts were dead right. He should have said, what are you doing? I had something in my eye. I'm going, oh, fuck. I've got to take a point off. He hit you with a jab. You took a knee and he walked away. You weren't defending yourself. I have to take a point off. And in that moment, Steve Willis had to take, I'm sorry, mate. I don't give a fuck whose show it is. Come with me. Stay there. Point off, point off, point off.
It's still unclear whether Gervonta Davis will agree to a rematch with Lamont Roach Jr. Many believe Davis is purposely avoiding tough fights, which is why a rematch hasn't been confirmed yet. Just like with Ryan Garcia, there's growing speculation that Davis may never face Roach in the ring again.
You will never see that fight happen again. It just will not happen. Gervonta Tank Davis doesn't like hard fights. It's that simple. We've seen it over and over. He fought a Ryan Garcia drained. He fought a very inexperienced Rolly Romero. He will not fight Devin Haney. He will not fight Shakur. He will not fight Pitbull Cruz again. He will not fight Lamont Roach again. He will not fight Tefimo. He will not fight He will not fight those guys. That's just not who Tank is.
Even after the controversy, Gervonta Davis remained dismissive of the backlash. In a post-fight press conference, he insisted that he thought he won the fight and defended his decision to take a knee, claiming he didn't know it could lead to disqualification. His casual attitude toward the situation only added fuel to the fire, as he even laughed about the incident, treating it like a joke. Many saw this as a clear sign of him disregarding boxing rules, further reinforcing belief that he gets special treatment in major fights.
Night for the sport. Didn't get what the decision I want, but we didn't get a loss either, so I felt like I won it, the last couple rounds, so it's cool. Lamont is a great fighter. Hopefully I can get that rematch because I know what I can do in a fight, but it's cool.
Any questions?
Okay. Tank, is KG with Fight Hype. I wanted to ask Tank, when the decision was read, the way that you reacted, it looked like you was upset. You slammed your gloves on the canvas. What was going through your mind when you heard the decision?
I didn't slam my glove on the canvas.
Okay, maybe I mistook from my vantage point, so that's my mistake. But what was going through your mind when you heard the decision?
Nobody like a draw, from a guy that get knockouts and things like that, but it's cool. I feel like if we fight again, I could do more, and I should have did more. I was lost in I lost track in the rounds. That's why we need.
Lightweight star Ryan Garcia weighed in on the controversy, arguing that Davis's knee should have been counted as a knockdown. Garcia pointed out that in boxing, taking a knee is a clear violation of the rules, and there was no reason for the referee to overlook it.
The knockdown with Tank.
That was a knockdown, without a doubt. You can't spin it no other way. It's too clear. And I think the commission needs to do something about it because it can give me an incentive, anytime I'm not feeling good in a fight, take a knee.
Well, they said
and that's not a shot at Tank. I respect Tank and I like Tank a lot, but you can't do that shit.
They reversed the result of your fight.
Yeah.
Should they reverse the result of that fight as well?
Just depends. Like if that changes the whole fight, if that gives Roach a victory, give him the victory. That's how you keep the integrity of the sport, right? That's why they suspended me, right, to keep the integrity of the sport. So I feel like if you're gonna do it to me, you got to do it to everybody.
Featherweight champion Shakur Stevenson also shared his opinion, stating that Lamont Roach Jr. had better control throughout the fight. Stevenson emphasized Roach's strategy and ring generalship, which allowed him to dominate several rounds.
In front of this guy, so it was this, but styles make fights. And I know that Tank is shorter, he's fast, but Lamont got good defense. And I just knew exactly how that fight was gonna go. I told everybody that Lamont was gonna be the one pushing forward. Tank was gonna be the boxer, and it literally looked exactly how I thought it was gonna look.
How did you see the actual fight? Like, let's break it down, because you was ringside. You sat. I saw you on Twitter. They showed the videos of you ringside. What did you see in the fight?
Shit, I kind of seen Lamont winning. I really felt like he was in control of the fight. I think Tank had good moments, but I feel like when he was boxing boring, he was more so in control. That's when he was kind of like in control of the fight for me. And when he kind of like tried to fight.
Yeah.
Renowned combat sports analyst Luke Thomas praised Lamont Roach Jr. for his performance, especially considering he moved up from a lower weight class to challenge Gervonta Davis. Despite this disadvantage, Roach managed to put on an impressive display, showcasing his skill and resilience in the ring.
Lower moves up and gives Tank Davis his toughest fight. I thought beating him on the inside, making him miss, putting offense behind defense after making him miss, being more active. Obviously, Tank's going to have the edge in power. Tank is going to have the edge in power strikes. I think ultimately the stats spoke to that. I don't think that this was a disaster. I think it'd be strong to call it a disaster. The fight was not great up front. The fight was not great in the middle, but it was very good. Not amazing, but definitely very good down the stretch. I think we can all agree with that. The results are fair. I think they're fair. I think 115, 113 in either direction is probably okay. For Lamont Roach, his stock goes up, I think, a significant amount, given how he was able to push Tank, land on Tank, make this the toughest fight of Tank's 31 pro fight career by far. I think he did himself a lot of favors. What are we going to do with Tank Davis now? I mean, it's not like he looked bad. Some of you guys had pointed out he might have had an injury somewhere around that 6th round. He didn't mention it to BC, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have it.
MMA journalist Ariel Helwani shared his thoughts on the fight, calling it satisfactory but far from exceptional. He highlighted that Davis taking a knee should have been ruled a knockdown, which further fueled the belief that the fight was rigged in Davis's favor, adding to the controversy. It was reported that Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach Jr. had agreed on a $250,000 bet before the fight. The agreement stated that if Davis failed to knock down Roach, he would owe him the amount.
Lamont Roach said yesterday that Tank Davis ain't paid him his $250,000 yet. Because they made a bet on camera, shook hands, $250,000 that Tank Davis would knock Lamont Roach out. Pay that man his money or double the bet in the rematch. And if he doesn't want to double the bet, Tank, pay that man his money. Can't be out here betting, bro. You was highly confident you would stop him. You didn't get the job done. If you just as confident you'll stop him in the rematch, double the bet. If you're not, pay that man his money. It's that simple for me, bro. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Should Tank Davis pay Lamont Roach, or should he renege on his bet? Real ones know the right answer to that question. Let me know your comment. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. We'll see y'all soon. Peace.